we are about to react to Nerdrotic, another Harry Potter video. The Harry Potter show is doomed. HBO panics. You know, I love Gary. This is not. I've seen the comments on the Drinker video and the other videos. I've seen them. Trust me, I love Drinker. I love Gary. And if you watch my my recent boys videos, you're gonna see some people be like, "Of course you like Nerdrotic. Of course you like the Drinker." Yeah, you're goddamn right. I do. Be mad about it, leftists.
Nerdrotic.com.
Before we start, I will say I like the logo. I like the Harry Potter logo. That's cool. I like it.
Greetings, you over 1 million filthy mudbloods and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. I don't think I'm going out on a limb here by saying the Harry Potter backlash has gone nuclear. Too soon? Anyway, over the past week, something incredible has happened. And no, it's not just Saturday Night Live making a skit that was actually funny, although we'll get to that, believe me. Aside from that, it has been astounding in these dark, divisive times to see so many people united with one voice across all demographics. Men and women, young and old, fat or thin, the gays, the lesbians, bisexuals. We'll leave the tea out of this one. People who love pineapple pizza.
Yeah, the T's, no, for sure. The T's, you know, they don't like this. But he's got a point. I haven't seen as much backlash for Harry Potter as I thought I would. Usually Rings of Power or anything Disney, Star Wars, or Disney Marvel gets a little bit more pushback from the crowd, the shill crowd that, you know, usually claps like seals for anything. But this, generally speaking, doesn't have as much blowback. It's been, everybody's generally agreed this show is probably going to be shit.
People who don't love pineapple pizza, Crips, Bloods, capitalists, communists, Democrats, Republicans, libertarians, and they don't agree with anybody on anything. The snide.
It's fucking real, dude. Fucking real. And look, I love my libertarian homies. I do. Eric July. I love Eric July. I love my libertarian homies, but they can be, they'll argue your pants off for no reason whatsoever. So I feel that.
Bros, the gun bros, and people who don't even care about Harry Potter have come together in this one instance, and we found something we can all agree on. The casting of Black Snape sucks, and HBO is finding out much sooner than expected the consequences of one bad decision. And now we're seeing the same amount of red flags that Johnny Depp ignored when he started dating Amber Heard. And the problems for HBO's billion-dollar series have only begun with one ill-advised casting choice. It's a tale as old as modern Hollywood, which started between 2015 and 16, depending on who you talk to. Giant corporate studio spends hundreds of millions to billions to either buy or maintain the rights of beloved intellectual property, the value of which is in the built-in fan base that they can exploit. And while most of the Western franchises have been bled dry, arguably up until very recently, Harry Potter is the most healthy, having generated $8 billion in book sales since 1997.
In spite of the fact that J.K. Rowling had gone under fire for pissing off the tea people, but since they're such a vocal minority, it had no effect whatsoever on Harry Potter. But we're going to see how long that lasts, because we're seeing the resistance now towards Black Snape, and that's good. I think people generally are going to not like this decision, but let's be very realistic here. When the show does drop, there are people out there that will flip their values immediately. They will say that, oh, I don't like the decision to make Black Snape, but the show's still pretty good. Watch it happen. Mark my words and watch it happen, as the people who were like, I don't like Black Snape, turn around and then start to say, you know what, it's actually a really good adaptation of the book. And then the show gets renewed again and again and again and again. And then we won't see the effects of Black Snape until, at the very least, Goblet of Fire or Order of the Phoenix. When it gets really deep into Snape's story and his origins, we're going to start to notice things. And by then it'll be too late. By then, the mainstream media will come out and be like, well, you liked the first 4 seasons, why don't you like this season? And the cycle continues.
The Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts films have collectively grossed $9.6 billion. Harry Potter merchandise, including toys, clothing, and collectibles, has generated over $7 billion in total lifetime sales. Hogwarts Legacy grossed over $1 billion, and the Harry Potter full cast audio editions over on Audible saw record sales, with Pottermore Limited Publishing posting revenue of $72.6 million in the last 12 months. By the way, how's that boycott working out for you?
How about that?
Of course, announcing a Harry Potter show on HBO was an absolute no-brainer that every Harry Potter fan was looking forward to. It could do what the movies couldn't: dive deeper into the books. The roadmap was there. For some easy money, all they had to do was be as faithful with the adaptation as possible and get the cast right. So back to that tale that's as old as modern Hollywood. Of course, the showrunners looked at all of that success and thought they could actually improve on it by completely changing it. And if you're starting to get Rings of Power vibes with HBO's Harry Potter, you're not alone. Let's look at the similarities following the hype after the announcement of both the Rings of Power and Harry Potter. Ultimately, two shows that are going to cost both studios billions. Both shows receive immediate fan backlash over inauthentic casting. Both shows' initial trailers were preceded by preemptive PR campaigns that used the narrative of toxic fandom to shield them from criticism. And shockingly, there is another similarity that, quite frankly, I did not think would happen. As you all know, the first official Rings of Power trailer was ratioed into oblivion, and inexplicably and unbelievably, the Harry Potter trailer is about to be ratioed. At time of recording, the Harry Potter teaser trailer on YouTube is currently sitting at 267,000 likes to 260.
It's been a minute since this video came out. Let me see. Yeah, this came out yesterday. It might be ratioed now. We don't have time to look, but it might be ratioed now.
4,000 dislikes.
Damn! But wait, there's more.
And just like the initial Rings of Power trailer, HBO's Harry Potter trailer is ratioed worldwide. There's HBO Max Nordic, HBO Max Australia, HBO Max Germany, and HBO Max Asia. And 100% of those ratios come from the casting of Black Snape. And if anyone's under the impression that those ratios come from the people who don't like J.K. Rowling, who's considered controversial for having one common sense view on one particular issue, I don't hate to tell you that there aren't enough of you to make a difference, and all I have to do is refer back to the best-selling books, movies, video games, audiobooks, the billions in merchandise sold, and the crowded theme parks. Incidentally, just a couple of weeks ago at Universal Orlando, yours truly, the Critical Drinker, and my wife all got to ride Hagrid, and it was wonderful.
No more questions. Don't ask any more questions.
Anyway.
How was Hagrid? That's the one question I'll ask. How was it? Was he good? Was he bigger than me?
If you have any doubt where these ratios come from, all you have to do is go to any of the selected channels and look at the comment section. It is now dominated by one subject, Black Snape. And if you don't think HBO is absolutely shitting themselves, so I've got some Paramount stock to sell you. The proof of that will be HBO running some damage control and rolling out a behind-the-scenes documentary 8 months before the series comes out. Normally, these behind-the-scenes are shown during or after a show drops. And unfortunately for HBO, it didn't help. As a matter of fact, it made things worse. Let's go back to the commonalities with the Rings of Power, where producer Lindsay Weber infamously said it felt only natural to us that Tolkien's world would reflect what the world actually looks like. While in this special they weren't that direct, they definitely insinuated it with one key word, a word no discerning fan wants to hear from modern Hollywood when they're
Mudblood. Mudblood, that was the word, wasn't it? Don't lie to me.
are adapting their favorite story.
To reimagine the Harry Potter canon, to let it breathe. We get to enact all the things that you know are going on in the wings, but you don't
Reimagine. The word is reimagine. I heard him say it. It's reimagine.
see them.
We really wanted to celebrate it as a moment to do things a little bit differently.
That's right. The good old updated for a modern audience was insinuated throughout this special. And when they weren't outright telling us, they were showing us. There seems to be a lot of South Asian representation in Slytherin. What are you trying to say there? So far, the only thing this show has accomplished is becoming a meme factory. And the final and most damning commonality with the Rings of Power, due to the questionable casting choices of a black female dwarf and Don Lemonless, Tolkien fans naturally asked, if you were going to change that, what else are you going to change? And it turned out to be everything. When showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay decided just to create their own story and call it Tolkien. The exact quote from Patrick McKay was, "Can we come up with the novel
Oh, look, it's Stephen Colbert, guys. But he's not aligned with them. He's not. He doesn't think like them. He's going to be faithful to Tolkien, right? That's Stephen Colbert.
Tolkien never wrote.
Go back to the book, go back to the book, go back to the book.
And why would it be any different with HBO's Harry Potter? The show head of HBO said would be a faithful adaptation, which was immediately proven to be an outright lie.
Yeah, we can tell that they were bullshitting on that one. Yeah, I had a thought here. Oh, see, I like the similarities that Gary's pointing out here. But that's comparing it to Rings of Power is a good comparison. We're not quite to Rings of Power level. I think Rings of Power was universally rejected from the get-go. This one is not quite there yet. However, time will come when that will probably end up changing. And like I said earlier on, reacting to this, much like Rings of Power, it had a backlash to begin with, but Rings of Power still has devoted weirdos out there that are willing to shill and straight up humiliate themselves to make the show look good. They'll do the whataboutisms and it's my opinion, you can't change it, and all that other bullshit. Oh, I like it, so that means it's good kind of shit. Trust me, this Harry Potter show is going to have a lot of that. And there's going to be a fucking typing war going on between people who don't like the show and people who do. Trust me.
With the casting that we will get to, but as suspected, that wasn't the only thing they were going to change. We've heard they're going to be adding scenes like Nicholas Flamel meeting Dumbledore and seeing Draco Malfoy's home life and teachers in their private rooms, and maybe adding parallel stories, which sounds like a recipe for disaster considering everything we've seen from Hollywood in the last decade, particularly when you combine it with that word reimagined.
To reimagine the Harry Potter canon.
For example, in the behind the scenes special, they talk about the nature of magic, something J.K. Rowling has said nobody knows where it comes from. But in the show, it's going to be rooted in naturalism.
There's this kind of inherent desire to be rooted in naturalism. Also, in this idea of at the core of Harry Potter, nature is the root of magic.
Aside from
What? First of all, even in the sense of J.K. Rowling's wizarding world, magic in of itself is not natural. So that doesn't make fucking sense. What kind of pagan nonsense is that? They're really leaning into this one. They're really going to lean into all the accusations that were thrown at this book series early on by the cancel culture evangelicals that hated Harry Potter because it was magic. But now they're leaning into it with paganism instead of just making it escapist fantasy where the magic is actually unnatural. But hey, maybe the wizards are all right, guys. Maybe the humans and the muggles are wrong for not abiding by nature the way wizards do. More of this shit. More of this shit. More of this victim baiting, my supremacy, my victim. All that shit. Oh my God.
From the fact that naturalism is the polar opposite of supernaturalism, it sounds like they're trying to ground this, which is one of my biggest concerns. One of the best things about Harry Potter is its sense of wonder. But according to HBO, who said they were going to do a faithful adaptation, now they're going to do things a bit differently.
We really wanted to celebrate it as a moment to do things a little bit differently.
This show's dead. I'm now convinced it's fucked. I hate to say it, and I really don't want it, but I'm pretty sure it's fucked now. It's setting in with me.
In isolation, that statement might seem innocuous. Unfortunately, we're not in isolation, and we've seen this all before. So if they're willing to drastically change the cast, explain magic when J.K. Rowling never felt the need to, add things that weren't in the book that are completely unnecessary, are they going to start changing the characters? And I think the answer is yes. This is purely...
Oh yeah, we're going to get gay Dumbledore. They've been wanting gay Dumbledore for forever. When I say they, I mean the they-thems. The singular person called they-them. those fucking nut jobs that still somehow hate J.K. Rowling but love Harry Potter. There are some out there, trust me. There are. Yeah, gay Dumbledore. We're going to get that. Mark my words.
Anecdotal, but according to HBO casting director Lucy Bevan,
Her superpower is her emotional intelligence. She's got main character energy.
I think to a lot of Harry Potter fans, that's another giant red flag. For one, Hermione is book smart, but not exactly emotionally intelligent for much of the book. At times, she's a complete spaz and socially awkward, but I think the biggest concern is that main character energy. One of the biggest complaints from fans about the Harry Potter films was Hermione was frequently given Ron's moments and lines from the books. Do I think that they're going to make her the main character over Harry Potter? No. Do I think they're going to amp her up more than they need to? I think that is a great possibility. This reminds me of a famous John Ronald Reuel Tolkien quote that is even more applicable today than when he said it. Canons of narrative art in any medium cannot be wholly different, and the failure of poor films is often precisely an exaggeration and in the intrusion of unwarranted matter owing to not perceiving where the core of the original lies. And this brings us back to Black Snape and that inexplicable occurrence we had over the past weekend. Saturday Night Live not only made a skit that was funny, they made one that was smart.
We got this new kid, his name Harry Potter, and he's racist as hell. Yes, Harry Potter, or the proud boy who lived, spent the whole year telling everybody that the school's only black teacher was secretly evil. So somebody stole something, and the number one suspect is Black Snape.
That's racist.
Join Planet Fitness on 1 cent
crap,
down,
ads.
$15 a month. No commitment.
Ads. I don't have premium because I'm a college kid. And I'm too lazy to edit these things.
As many of us have already pointed out, the race swapping of the character of Snape fundamentally and thematically changes the story, including when the Philosopher's Stone is stolen. Our protagonist, the little white kid, suspects the one black teacher. So you make our protagonist look like a racist, you make his parents look like they're racist, and let's have the added bonus of Snape being possibly beaten and abandoned by his father. This might be one of the most famous cases of painting yourself into an identity politics corner. This begs the question, are they going to soften the character of Snape like they did in the movies? Yes, by the end, ultimately we find out that Snape was one of the bravest characters in the book, but he was also a brave asshole who never missed an opportunity to be cruel to the kids, particularly Harry. Or are they going to soften the kids or Harry's attitude towards Snape? And if you start going this far off the book, you're just in the realm of fan fiction, which some might argue is already happening. This reminds me of a quote from another author who's having his own issues with an HBO show, George R. R. Martin, who famously isn't even talking to showrunner Ryan Condell of House of the Dragon due to his changes from the books. Fantasy needs to be grounded. It is not simply a license to do anything you like. Smaug and Toothless may both be dragons, but they should never be confused. Ignore canon and the world you've created comes apart like tissue paper. It never ceases to amaze.
I don't generally agree with George R. R. Martin because he won't finish books. He's too fat and he's an ugly piece of shit. But that's a good quote. He's not wrong.
Amazes me how Hollywood could fuck up an easy layup or lay, yet here we are, unfortunately going down that road again when all we wanted was a good TV show to watch. Now, back in my first Black Snape video, I said that the HBO Harry Potter show had a potential to be a cultural punching bag, and it turns out that's already happening. Because I highly doubt Casey Bloys over at HBO or anybody involved in the show expected to get clowned on Saturday Night Live a week after their first trailer released. And good for SNL, but I have a question. Where the hell have you been? Woke and intersectional content, because I can't really call it storytelling, is some of the lowest hanging comedy fruit that's ever existed. To give them credit, they did do a Black Ariel skit that sucked, and they did do a Black Valerian skit, which was great thanks to Dave Chappelle, but those were few and far between. But you didn't think any of this would be funny, and forgive me, this is going to sound like a top 10 worst race swaps video from yours truly. Mindy Kaling's self-insert South Asian Velma, Yara Shahidi's Black Tinkerbell from Peter and Wendy, Billy Porter as the fairy godmother from Amazon Cinderella. I don't think anyone will forget Rachel Zegler as Snow White, a character who is literally described as having skin as white as snow.
Very evidently so.
Then, of course, there's the historical figures, Black Cleopatra, Black Anne Boleyn, Black Edward VI, who is also gay and disabled. Netflix turned the historical Norwegian ruler Jarl Haken into a black female Viking, and a dishonorable mention here, Cynthia Erivo playing Jesus Christ. I mean, let's be real, you guys passed up on some comedy comedy gold, but I know a lot of YouTubers who didn't. But if this was a top 10 list, the number one with a bullet would be Black Snape.
They have done a brilliant job of selecting this extraordinary ensemble.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
And this will go down as one of the dumbest decisions in the history of Hollywood, because absolutely no one on earth would have cared if you cast Snape accurately. And who's behind this decision? An exorbitant amount of female executives trying to comply with the DEI requirements penned by an exorbitant amount of female HR executives. Sure, the one thing we do know beyond a shadow of a doubt is it wasn't a decision based on merit. Do I think HBO's Harry Potter is going to be as bad as The Rings of Power? I don't think that's possible, but I've been...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be as bad as Rings of Power, but only time will tell. And like I said, there's going to be people that are going to enjoy it, and they're going to defend it like their life depends on it. And that's going to ruin the show for most people. That's what I think.
Wrong before. Do I think it has a potential to be good despite the casting of Black Snape? Sure, because the rest of the cast looks great, and after watching the behind the scenes, the craftsmanship and the sets look brilliant. I'm just not sure you're going to be able to see it, because based on the trailer, it looks like the series is shot by the director of photography of Game of Thrones: The Long Night. And I have...
Dude, for real, it's Zack Snyder's Harry Potter.
No doubt the first season will be a huge success, but as David Ellison takes over Warner Brothers, he's always going to be wondering what could have been because of the casting of Black Snape. This is your chance to be the hero of this story, David Ellison. Now that you've canceled Starfleet Academy and will inevitably fire Alex Kurtzman, once you take over Warner Brothers, recast Snape.
Just say it was Polyjuice Potion. Just say he was using Polyjuice Potion, and boom, that's it. Go subscribe to Nerdrotic and tell him Isaac of the Dead sent you. Another great video. Holy shit, this video went on long. Harry Potter's fuck.